Good afternoon and welcome to the Home is Where the Van Is podcast. My name is Jason and I'll be your host, and just thought I'd take a couple of minutes before we kick off the first episode to give you a bit of a background and a bit of an introduction to what this podcast is about. Every Wednesday we're going to put together about a 30 or 40 minute episode and upload it for you to listen to share, to enjoy. The whole purpose of the podcast is to share stories. I get passionate when I see and hear people who are passionate about something else. I get excited when I see people who are excited about something else. So this podcast is an opportunity to capture some of those people and some of those stories and some of those things that I may not have encountered before and you may not have encountered, and be able to share that with a wider audience. So it's really quite simple. I'm currently sitting in a van in Los Angeles, California, and I'm going to be traveling around the United States on the Van's Warped Tour. The band I'm with is a young band from Newcastle near Sydney called Trophy Eyes, and it's their first time in the States as well as it is mine. So I thought, what better time to finally get this podcast off the ground than to capture stories of people in a country that I've never been to before. And the first episode does not disappoint. I'd like to get you to check out our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/homeispodcast, because we'll have photos and links and some of the things that come up on the during the conversations that we'll be able to you'll be able to see, because it's a very audio medium, whereas Facebook you can actually read and see pictures. That's about it. We're going to be going and collecting stories along the way. We're going to be talking to some of the bands on the tour, but it's not going to be about asking bands, what are you up to next? What's your tour like? It's getting the stories as they travel around themselves and the people that they've met and the differences between the countries that they travel to, and a whole collection of things. For the fans who are at the show, I'm really excited to hear what they have to say, because particularly young people like to be heard, not just listened to, but to be heard and given an opportunity to say what's on their mind and what they're excited about. So here we go. This is episode 1. Home is where the van is. Thank you for listening, and please share it if you enjoy it.
Good day, mate.
Home is where the van is, episode 1. Thanks for tuning in. On this week's episode, we're going to introduce you to a couple of segments that will run regularly on the podcast. Later in the episode, we'll chat to the guys from As It Is, who are currently on Warped Tour, and they're going to share one of their tour stories. We're going to meet a guy who has arm wrestled Oprah, which is not something that you find yourself in every day. And also one of the most surreal conversations that I've ever had with a gentleman here in LA. I'll get to him a bit later, but I do want to stress that with this podcast, the stories are unedited. We haven't bleeped out the language, we haven't censored anything that might be controversial or confronting. And the reason for that is because these are people's stories. These are real people who I've spoken to in their own space. We haven't, ran them down like a Today Tonight or a cheesy, faux news way. And it's what they've got to say. It's what their perspectives and opinions on the world, themselves, and the people around them are. So some of the things you might disagree with, and some of the things you might find a bit, controversial. But use your discretion. If you need to skip it forward, feel free to do so. Anyway, enough on that. This is the first segment. It's one that I love a lot. It's called Kev's House.
Kev's house!
Yeah! So one of the features that we're going to introduce every week on this podcast for season 1 is Kev's House.
Kev's House Reviews.
Kev is in Trophy Eyes, who I'm currently travelling around with, and every week Kev's going to give us a review on something that he's found during that previous week.
Okay, so what's going to happen is, like Jason explained, I'm going to review everything. Be patient with me because my reviews might be quite stupid, but you will laugh in the end. You'll understand my personality and everything. Right now we're in LA, and my review in LA is... It's fucking skits, cunt. Oh, that's all I've got.
The next person who you'll hear from has given me a new habit of chewing sunflower seeds while I drive, which is, I've gone through bags and bags already. He is a fantastically humble and generous gentleman, and I can't speak highly of him enough. His name's Evan, and this is his story. Maybe, where are we? I know we're at baseball, but
okay, we're at the Torrance batting cages in Torrance, California. It's South LA County. 12 messages from my mom. What the heck is that? Torrance batting cages in Torrance, California. We are about 20 miles or 18 miles south of Los Angeles, of the actual downtown city. My girlfriend's dad owns this establishment, and I work here on Saturdays.
And he's generously brought us along to have a swing, hit a few balls, see how we go.
There we go. So far, Callum crushed one. That was easily out of a ballpark.
The rest was chocolate bar.
Yeah, and the coolest thing about it was his final pitch in the round, which is great. It was the best way to walk out of a cage.
Wins the World Series.
Exactly. It was a home run in the last inning, which is very good.
It's often referred to as America's pastime. Why is it America's pastime and not America's favorite sport? Or what's the... I've often wondered why it's called that and not...
For some reason, everybody loves like American football. Like, I'd say that's probably like America's most popular sport. I think like the actual business itself does like $8 billion a year or something crazy.
NFL
like
or
that.
baseball.
NFL, yeah, NFL. But people don't like baseball because it's a very slow sport. But I think that's the beauty of it. Is it's a sport where you go to the park and you just grab a beer and you eat food and you just hang out with your buds. And like for me, it's like right now, like you just watch and you talk with your friend the whole time, like while you're watching it, or eat sunflower seeds or peanuts or whatever, and just like it's a good time to just relax and just kind of get away from it and watch something that you love. I think it's also a very exciting sport when it gets like super intense or a very pressure-filled situation. I mean, it's like there's been times where like I felt like I had to walk away from like the TV or like walk out to the concourse because I couldn't deal with it. Yeah, there was a moment in the playoffs like 2 years ago where this guy named Juan Uribe hit a 2-run home run in the second to last inning, and it looked like we were going to lose that game. And I was so stressed because of the game. The game was so stressful that everybody was like so relieved and so stoked that like, okay, we won and we're going on to the next round of the playoffs. But for me, I was like angry that I had to be put through that. So like
build up of emotion.
Yeah,
and
exactly. I get super emotional with sports. My girlfriend knows that like I get very aggressive and I will yell at the players and yell at people, and I love to like heckle. And I mean, I do it tastefully, but like when I get upset, like I want the manager to know that he shouldn't have made that move or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, it's the sport can be whatever you want it to be, and that's what I think. It's a great time to just, I don't know, enjoy yourself, and just it's a very social sport.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Baseball heckles.
Yeah.
Like, what's your like go-to? What's your like? As I said, never been to a game before. Never heard the drunk guys up the back of the stadium kind of throwing their managerial hat on and.
Right. So for me, I feel like you're not a true fan of your favorite team unless you absolutely despise one person on the team.
Okay.
I think
Is that goes for any sport or just
any sport? I think that I personally believe that you have to be that way. You have to be so passionate about your team that you like think that one guy is ruining it for the rest of them, and like you hate that guy. And then whenever the manager puts him in, it's like, what are you doing? Like, why would you do that? So for me, there's a guy named on the Dodgers. His name is Brandon Lee. He's actually hurt right now, but thank God. But he.
I thought you said he was here right now, and I'm looking around.
No. You don't want him here. I would be so upset if he's here right now. But so he's really not that great. Here, like what the kids play, like their version of baseball is called Little League, and his name is Brandon League, and everybody calls him Little League because he's like horrible. He's getting paid $8 million a year to do nothing. It's not the highest contract, but it's still way too much for what he doesn't do. And I think. Oh, jeez. Hallett.
Hello, boys.
That was a shot. Whoa. So he, I completely lost my train of thought. Friggin' Pocket just hit a monster shot. Gosh.
Little League.
Little League. So I had really good seats that were like 6 rows back from the dugout, which is where a lot of the players congregate in between like innings and whatever. That's like the bench and where the managers all hang out and whatever. It's called the dugout.
Oh, he's taking it.
You all right?
That'll leave a welt.
So,
Dugout.
okay, so I was a few rows behind the dugout, and that night was Zach Greinke bobblehead night. So where you go and you get like a bobblehead of a pitcher.
Like the one that you...
Yes. So I gave Jason a bobblehead of a guy named Kenley Jansen. Kenley Jansen is a closer for the Dodgers, which means the Dodgers have the final inning to go through, and the Dodgers are up, and they bring in one guy to seal the deal to finish out the game.
Yeah.
So he's called a closer, which means he's great for just one inning, and you put him in when you want a for sure victory. And so that's what Kenley Jansen is. But there was a bobblehead night, and I think my favorite heckle that I've ever given about the Dodgers was Brandon Lee was walking by, and I yelled, "Hey Brandon, when is your bobblehead night?" And like everybody knew that he was never getting a bobblehead night, and he like looked at me and like shook his head and like just kept walking to the dugout. And like I think it was like, I don't know, tinges of sadness and anger and frustration all at once from him, just because he's not earning his paycheck and everybody knows it. And it was like a very like, it wasn't like, it was subtle, but it was good. And then my other favorite one, this is actually probably my favorite baseball game I ever went to, was when I was 18 years old. I was doing really well at a P.F. Chang's, at like which is like a expensive, overpriced Chinese food restaurant.
Yep.
The best way I can like equate it would be like a McDonald's for like stars, like where it's like the lowest they will go.
Yeah.
But it's still like, I don't know, like people. Oh jeez. People. I don't know. Anyways, the food there is pretty expensive. The bills get pretty high. For some reason, I got tipped really well. And as like a kid, I was like 18, like making a bunch of money and just stacking it up. And I went to visit my brother, who was out in a college called Purdue, who has a really good math and sciences program. Actually, he was there for math, but he's taking a physics class. And halfway through, his physics teacher had to leave because he won the Nobel Prize. So it's
wow.
like, yeah. So it's
that's
like,
no lie. That's some deep physics right there.
Right. So he was going to the Navy to be a nuclear physicist, and then he changed paths. But I decided to go and visit him for a week, and we found out that there was a team called the Fort Wayne Tin Caps, which was the single A team, so the very lowest division for the San Diego Padres, which would be the pro team. And before we went, I figured out that they were playing a team called the Bowling Green Hot Rods from Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I created a Facebook page for the Bowling Green Hot Rods mascot. And I took that page and I added the whole entire roster on Facebook, because all these guys are like 18 to 22 that are playing for the team, and they all have Facebook pages. I added them all on Facebook so I could get a bunch of like just dirt and information on these guys. So we created like this grid of like all the players, who their sisters were, who their ages are, like who just broke up with who just went on a vacation, who went, who just got dumped.
Whose grandma just bought them socks and underwear for their 21st.
Exactly, yeah. Or like, I don't know, like one of them like posted a Nickelback song, and we're like, okay, we can use that against them. We found out what draft round they were, and all that other stuff, and we were just like going mad on these guys. And we were sitting, the thing about minor league ball is it's super cheap to go to games because it's not a pro team.
Sure.
So for $6 you can sit behind home plate, like first row. So we were sitting second row, and
just to save the $1 for a hot dog or something.
Well, they were sold out, believe it or not. So I was like, we gotta do the but yeah, it was great, and it was like the time of my life. And so we were sitting there and we were just yelling at all these players and be like, "Hey Johnson, how's Sandra doing?" Which is like his like ex-girlfriend, whatever. It's like, "Is it cool? Is she on the market now?" And like just like these guys were just like shaking their heads and just like, I cannot believe this is going on right now. And we knew everything about them. Actually, the GM, the general manager of the Hot Rods, contacted me on Facebook and sent me like a cease and desist letter, because he was like, "You're not affiliated with the team. You can't be doing this." But I was like, "I'm just a fan." And I don't know. So, so because of that, there was this one time this guy was walking up, and he was drafted in the 32nd round. And my favorite heckle that day was he was walking up, and I said something like, "Hey, Johnson, it's all right you made that 32nd round. That 31st round is damn hard to make." And, like, everybody was just like, oh, my gosh. And there was, like, the thing in Indiana, it's all a bunch of, like, bogans, as you guys would call them. There's a bunch of hicks, and this guy, like,
I'm glad you've got these guys have got you the terminology.
There you go. Oh, yeah. And so, like this guy's a total just, like, hick, the redneck, what do you want to call him, bogan. And, like, this guy turns to me, he's like, "Dude, that's cold. That is cold." And, like, the dude was like, I don't know, after that point just, like, struck out and just, like, walk away and, like, I don't know. So I love baseball. I think it's cool. I think it's a very interactive game. I kind of like the idea of, like, having a sport where the spectators, like, get passionate about it and, like, get upset about, like, the management and think, like, why is he making that move? He should never be doing that. He should never play that guy or whatever.
Yeah.
When obviously these guys are getting paid millions of dollars a year to make these decisions. There's a reason behind him. And there's a reason why he's the manager and not me. But it's like, I don't know.
Would you be a manager if they said to you, like, you know, we'll put you on the track to being a manager?
I don't know. That's a lot of responsibility, and I think that I don't have enough baseball IQ for it. So I'll be the first to admit it, but there are moves that I would make differently.
Yep.
The Dodgers manager right now, named Don Mattingly, I cannot stand. I think he's horrible, and I am counting the days until he leaves.
Maybe you can do a similar thing and just corrupt him, just find out all his personal information and start kind of whittling down.
I know.
Via an anonymous Facebook page. And
he's a clean guy, though, and he's also, like, a baseball legend from, like, the New York Yankees back in the day, and so people, like, love him. But it's to the point where, like, and I think I don't know if this makes me a true fan, like a true Dodger fan, is I hope this year that the Dodgers do miserably in the playoffs and don't make it anywhere close to a championship for the sole purpose of them firing Don Mattingly so we have a new guy in.
That kind of is what you were saying before, though, about how passionate fans are, that you just would want them to suck for a year,
right?
So that they can have the bet. Like,
right.
It sounds very even more of a fan than just, oh yeah, I go and see a game from time to time.
Right. But I don't know. I love baseball. I think it would be a dream to my life goal would be to buy a minor league baseball team, and so.
What's the starting price for a minor league team?
Like 25 to 30 million. So
yeah,
I got to figure that out first.
You've got a few more paychecks.
Just a few. Yeah. But so the idea would be just make a monster movie and just make tons of, like.
Yep.
I think of this like the movie Gravity. Sandra Bullock was paid $20 million up front to be in that. Obviously, she established her name and whatever, and then she made off of all, like, her back end percentages and residuals. She pulled down, and she had first dollar gross. So the first dollar that came in, she took a percentage off of it.
Yep.
She made, I think, $70 million on top of that. So in one movie, she made $90 million, which is just
that's enough. Like, you can go home after that and
I know.
move to the country
Exactly. But which is weird. I mean, the weird thing about Hollywood, because I work predominantly in film.
I was going to ask, you mentioned that you make films, and there's probably a lot of people in Hollywood that say that.
Right. So I work in film with a guy named Cassie Nellis, who is an independent film producer. He ran William Morris's independent division for 15 years. He's packaged and helped bring together financing and other forms and aspects of filmmaking in over 400 films. He is probably most well known for his latest ones would be Dallas Buyers Club, The Butler, All Is Lost. He just did a film with Kevin Costner called Black or White, which did all right.
That's not sneezing at those films. It's definitely...
Yeah. And then he did, let's see, and then I was brought on as an associate producer for a film called Elvis Nixon, which is a story when Elvis met Nixon in the White House to try and become an undercover agent. And that one's starring Michael Shannon as Elvis, Kevin Spacey as Nixon, also with Alex Pettyfer. Let me see. I should just put these guys in a side tunnel. We have, like, these areas right here have lighting, and we could, like, throw around in those and, like, use the cages and whatnot. So anyways, that is what I do Monday through Friday. And I love working at the cages because I feel like, I don't know, it keeps me normal, but I'm also not into the whole glitz and glamour, and this right here is, like, more my speed. But
you've got the kids over here to the left, and then you've got the guys who are a bit more established down the way.
Exactly, which is not me. I'll be the first to admit that I'm not very good at baseball. I did okay when I was like 14, and then I quit because I was on a bad team. And I think I actually could have made like a decent run and maybe played for a college team somewhere, maybe not like a first division or whatever. But I think I could have had like an okay young 20-year-old career at it. I don't think I'd get drafted, but I mean, who knows if I would have put in the effort. I don't know. But so I love baseball, but I love film as well.
What's probably one of your favourite stories from your film job? Like, we've talked a lot about baseball, and you mentioned that you're not really a big kind of stars, glitz and glamour thing, but if you've got a favourite story or a favourite kind of just thing, you're like, this is surreal, this is fantastic, this is a story that I would write a book around just to tell people this story.
So I think that there's 3 stories that come to mind. The first one was when I denied Kanye. Like, Kanye came to me and asked me for more tickets to something, and I said, like, I can't. And I was like a junior in college at that point, so that's my 3rd year of college.
What album cycle was he on? That's probably the question.
It was 2011, so he's at the top.
Twisted Fantasy, yeah.
Twisted Fantasy, yeah. So that's a good way of putting it. So Kanye West circa Twisted Fantasy. When did Graduation come out? Was that 2008 or 2010? Or
that was before, because was Graduation the first one? I get those first 3 mixed up. They all kind of blend into...
Yeah. I don't know. Anyways, Twisted Fantasy. I wasn't really like a huge Kanye fan, but seeing him perform is actually like pretty incredible. Like, you get it. And you get why people pay big bucks to see him.
Yeah.
But I was working as an intern for a company called Rogers & Cowan, a PR company, and a financier company called Red Granite, who puts money into films. They did a movie called Wolf of Wall Street, and then they did a movie called Friends with Kids. They did Dumb and Dumber 2, which is the latest Dumb and Dumber movie that came out. They put all the money into that, which is crazy because they're like independent films with $150 million budgets, and which is like weird. Like, you don't see indie films that big. But it was a big launch party. No one knew who they were, and it was their chance to really make some waves and let people know, hey, we're in the film business. We're interested in being a part of this. And so they threw a party that was 4 hours long on the Ritz-Carlton Beach Club in France, and I was like shadowing the executive VP of the company. She asked me to just follow her around, and then there came a point where I was just wandering around the party for like 2 hours. The budget for the party was $1.4 million. They were giving away like Cartier watches at the door. Like, Bradley Cooper was there, Vanessa Hudgens, like Jamie Foxx came up and did Gold Digger with him. Pharrell Williams opened for him. Did for a half hour. Kanye West performed for an hour and a half. It was crazy. Like, it came to the point where there were so many people there that Mel Gibson came and they denied him because they didn't have like room for him, and he didn't have a ticket.
No room at the inn for...
Yeah, I know. So it was a very like exclusive party. Steven Spielberg was there. Harvey was there. I mean, it was like the who's who of Hollywood, and I think to this day, like, people still consider it one of the greatest parties of all time.
Wow.
In Cannes, and so there just came a point
during the film festival period.
Right. And so the EVP asked me to hold all of the VIP wristbands, and she's like, "Don't give any of these out." And so she's like, to nobody, and I was like, "All right, cool." So then like Kanye West came up to me and he was like, "Hey, I need like 17 more wristbands," and I was like, "I'm sorry, but I can't do it." And he's like, I get it, you're doing your job, I get it, but I need 17 wristbands. And I was like, Kanye, I can't. And he's like, all right, like, I get it, you're doing your job, I think you're wrong for this, but I think that you should be giving them to me. And I was like, Kanye, I can't. And so
that's a really kind of like, gets it, but he wants it, but he... Right,
but which is like total Kanye. It's exactly what you expect of him. So like, I don't know. I think that right there, people like that story. But that was the most surreal experience, where I'm like, 20-year-old kid saying no to Kanye, who is obviously way more successful at life than I am. I wouldn't say successful at life, because I would not measure it by money.
Yeah.
I think that I'm way more successful than he is in a lot of ways. And I think that I get a lot of things that he doesn't. But I guess financially more successful. He's found a way to get people to buy his music, which I think is good, and I think his music is really good. There's a lot of stuff that I like. But so that's probably the most surreal moment of the whole Hollywood thing. Actually, there's 3 people that I've gotten like starstruck on. I get starstruck very seldom because people just like annoy me, especially celebrities, because they're all narcissistic and just not very nice people a lot of the time.
And LA's probably full of them, so everyone's trying to...
The 3 people that blew my mind, that when I saw that I like froze up on, was when I met Quincy Jones, because I was just like, an absolute legend, and I was just like, him with his 26-year-old white girlfriend, and he was like, just had double knee surgery and just obviously living his dream, I guess. Quincy Jones was crazy. Oprah's boyfriend, Stedman Graham, did it for me. I don't know why. Oprah didn't do it for me, but Stedman Graham did it for me. I was like, whoa, Stedman Graham.
Is she very much, I'm trying to think of the word, I would say matriarch, but not, is she very much the leader and he's the, or are they in a more relaxed setting there, a bit more one-on-one? Obviously she's this enigma.
Yeah, I mean, they're both very successful. I think for her, there just comes a point where, I don't know. They never got married. They've been together for like 18 years. But like, I don't know. I mean, like, he only came because I was working on The Butler for 2 years, and I was living in Louisiana working on the film for 4 months. That was the best 4 months of my life, without a doubt. I loved it. But I don't know why, but Stedman just did it for me. So far, like, the common thread is like old black people like getting stoked.
Yeah.
And then there was someone recently that like I saw and I was like, I can't remember who it was, but he was. I know that he was black, because like in the theme of black, old black. But I don't know. People get stoked. So when I was on The Butler, like I said, just celebrities don't do it for me. I hate red carpet events. I only go because my girlfriend like doesn't get to experience that, and I take her to premieres and whatnot.
That's the day. You say Friday night, just put a nice dress on and you take it
there
down.
You go.
Hang rubbing shoulders with.
There you go. So she loves that stuff. I mean, she had such a fun time at the Butler premiere, and like, I don't know. I mean, she got like a picture with Oprah and got a picture with like James Marsden and like all these people. But I went through like this. It all started like my weird craze of like arm wrestling celebrities that was very short lived because I don't know. I had to grow up at one point and started realizing, okay,
it was great at the time.
Yeah. It was like I'm not a college kid anymore. I was working on a movie called The Butler in Louisiana, and I was talking to her security guard, Willie, and like, you're working with these people for 4 months. Like, I don't know, is you're constantly walking by, and I mean, seeing it's just like not special or whatever. But I asked like Willie, I was like, hey, question for you. I have 2 questions for you. The second one is more important than the first. And he's like, what's that? What's the first one? And I said, can I get a picture with Oprah? Like, do you think it'd be like weird if I asked her for a picture? And he's like, I'd rather you not, because when you get a picture with Oprah, everyone has to get a picture with Oprah.
Yep.
And he's like, and not only that, everyone has to tell them her life story. Like, people just talk to her for as much as they can and tell Oprah how she changed their life or whatever. And it's, I don't know. So there's that. And then they said, he said in the second, so I'd rather you not get a picture with her just because of that. And I was like, all right, fine. And he's like, what was the second question? And I said, can I get a picture of arm wrestling Oprah? And I said, because I could care less about getting a picture of Oprah, but I know that nobody has a picture of arm wrestling Oprah, and I want a picture of arm wrestling Oprah. And so he said, absolutely not. And he's like, no way. And so just there was a day, last day of shooting, everybody's excited. There's like a buzz in the air. They're like, everybody's shooting, like, this is it. This is the big finale. It's over here. And she was in her makeup trailer, and one of the costume girls working in the costume department had a stack of O magazines, and she like slipped in, and I was like, oh, she's getting stocking stuffer signed, or I don't know what the deal was, but she was like maybe hooking up her friends or Christmas presents, or I don't even know, but she was getting a bunch of things signed.
It sounds like in the Godfather, I think, and he's like, coming on my daughter's wedding, come in at the end,
right.
and have what ask Oprah one thing you want, and I'll give it to you, kind of.
Yeah. But it was, I saw that person go in the makeup trailer. I looked over. Willie didn't see me, and I slipped in as well. And then as soon as she's done, I said, hey, Oprah, can I get a quick picture with you? And she's like, yeah, sure, of course. And I said, but here's the catch. I don't want a picture with you unless it's arm wrestling you. And she kind of like gave me a weird look, and then she's like, all right, let's do it. And so she actually like threw down, and she went like hard, and like I let her win.
And it wasn't just the photo arm wrestling; it was an actual.
She was arm wrestling. So when you see the photo of me arm wrestling Oprah, she's got like this like massive grimace on her face, and so she doesn't even like, people don't even think it's Oprah, because they're like, no, like, that can't be Oprah. And I'm like, no, it's like, if you don't believe me, you don't have to believe me, but I'm not gonna force you to believe me, but I'm telling you, it's Oprah. And like, so that was a moment right there. Willie never saw the photo. I need to find a way to send Willie the photo, because he would just be like, oh, you bastard. But there's that. And then I just went through a weird craze. Then I arm wrestled Lenny Kravitz, then James Marsden, and then Cuba Gooding Jr., and then David Arquette, and then I arm wrestled. My buddy's a big fan of Hoodie Allen. I saw him and arm wrestled him recently. But it was to the point where I'm just like, okay, I've grown up. I've passed that. And then it started becoming my thing, and I started getting known for that. And I was like, okay, I'm done with that. But it was I enjoyed that just because I posted on Instagram, and people would see it, be like, why are you arm wrestling people? And it was actually the Oprah thing opened up a whole can of worms, because when you graduate high school, I feel like for me, like, I'm dreading my high school reunions and I was a class president, so I have to plan them. But like, I feel like I've seen so many of my friends like not do anything with their lives and just kind of like, hey, like, I don't know. And for me, I'm constantly displeased with myself. I want to do more. I want to do better. I want to work harder and whatever. And I think that's a good attitude to have to an extent. I think I have it to a fault because I'm never sitting happily where I'm at. But as soon as I saw that photo, like all these people I hadn't talked to in years are coming out of the woodwork and just like, like, oh man, you're working with Oprah now? Like, are you working for the Oprah show? And like, the Oprah show went out, like, she stopped with the Oprah show like 6 years ago. What are you talking about? Like, a lot of people asking those questions, and then people saying like, hey dude, like, glad that you're doing well. Like, would love to sit down and get coffee with you. I'm like, oh geez.
I haven't spoken to in years, and even at school I didn't really speak
and
to
so
you.
like, hundreds of people were just coming out. I was like, okay, I've had enough of this. So I don't know, I kind of keep my life very quiet. No one knows who I work for and what I do and what my credits are and whatever. Aside from those that are like close to me that I choose to let know.
I know to be listening to this.
Exactly. Yeah. So I also manage a band called Worthwhile and Hopeless. They're my best buds. I love them.
Worthwhile on Hopeless, rather than
Yeah. Worthwhile and Hopeless. They
should put a track on at the end. It was like a bit of music outro. So we'll
cool. So the band called Worthwhile. They're my best buds. I met them in college. Actually, they all grew up 10 minutes away from my house in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I met them at a show. I got off of P.F. Chang's 2 weeks before I was going down to L.A. And my buddy Kyle used to play in hardcore bands all up in the Bay Area. And I called him and said, hey, I got off early today from the Chinese food restaurant. Like, what are you guys doing? He's like, oh, we're watching a band play called Worthwhile. You should come take a look. And I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, where are they playing? And he's like, oh, they're playing in an industrial kitchen. And I was like, all right.
Okay.
And so I went and I saw it, and it was probably one of the best shows I've ever seen. And like, people were stage diving off of the stoves and like kitchens, and like, I mean, it was cool. It was exciting.
Is it a real DIY kind of house show, or is it?
It was in the center of an actual kitchen where they manufactured food, and so they like pushed like some of the stoves aside and pushed a bunch of things like out and whatever, and it was cool. I mean, it was like very small, and I loved it. And I was talking to James afterwards, and I was like, hey, like this is your last show, you said? He's like, well, yeah, for a while. And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I'm going to college. He's like, where are you going? He's like, oh, I'm transferring into a place called Biola. And I was like, dude, I'm transferring into a place called Biola. He's like, no way. And then that's just how it started. And that's how we became good friends. And then next year, we were in the dorms. And after that, we all got an apartment together. We were living together. And then that's when he wrote Carry On Kid and worked on some stuff with iHow or In Her Own Words. And then I was there with him, doing the whole recording process. And I mean, it was great. Joe, the other guitarist, lived with us. Austin, the old bassist, before he got married and grew up and became a man, was a part of it as well. And I mean, I don't know. So that's where Worthwhile came in. And I manage them. They're the only band I will manage and the only band I will ever manage. I have no desire to manage anyone else. I love those dudes. And it's interesting because we're such close friends and we care about each other so much that I noticed that every single Worthwhile guy, and my buddy Frank, who's kind of like in the crew as well, he does a lot of videos for us. We tell each other I love you every time we get off the phone. And we're like, hey dude, I'll talk to you soon. All right, yeah man, hey, I love you bud. All right, I love you too. And like, because we care about each other. Like, we're like, they're honestly like brothers to me. And so that's why I'm like happy to be like the sixth member of the band that like no one talks about. And so it's cool. I love it. I'm in the film world. When I'm talking to Hopeless and on conference calls, I always have to disclaim up front, hey, I'm film. I might ask a stupid question. And they're like, no, we get it, which is cool. But I guess like my business savvy is good enough to take care of them, which is all right. But so let's talk about Worthwhile for a sec.
Well, it's been like half an hour. So you've got you've talked about the baseball, we talked about the film and the music. Thanks so much for being on the first episode.
The first episode of what is the podcast?
It's going to go to Home is Where the Van Is.
Home is Where the Van Is.
Yeah.
I like it.
And first episode, I'll let you get back in the cage and have a swing.
There we go. Yeah.
Thanks, mate, and see you on the road.
Jason, alrighty, sounds good.
Now, next up, we've got Lewis. Lewis was a African-American gentleman who walked up to the van I was driving and asked about the tour van. And it started about a 20-minute long conversation about a whole range of topics. And I was lucky enough to be able to capture it, to record it, with his permission, of course. It's to date one of the most surreal conversations I've ever had. And before I started, I would just want to say, if you find that some of the things he says a bit confronting or offensive, feel free to skip forward about 10 minutes to the next part of the episode. But this is Lewis, and you're listening to Home is Where the Van Is.
So when you go out on a date with a girl, you let her do all the talking like you listening, but you're not really listening because you're going on the date so you can fuck her. So if she like cats and you like dogs, and you know you don't like cats, you don't say nothing. You just let her talk. Because if you say no, you don't like cat, like going to court, it'll be held against you whether you get pussy that night.
True.
Right. So, and then
Just
two,
asking her questions.
right. So two, when you go out on a date, you don't really want to spend money, but if you do, the limit is always $40 or less.
Is that in Australia our currency's a little bit less, so everything's more expensive?
Women are cheap. They're not going to spend no more than you spend. You're going to be the one spending more, and you still won't get the pussy. So you have to be like a woman. You go to McDonald's, my suggestion, Burger King, Yoshinoya, TGI Friday, especially TGI Friday, because that's where you get a lot of cheap women. Women are cheap, so men got to learn how to be cheap. But men don't learn how to be cheap because we want the pussy so bad, we feel like we want to spend a lot of money to get it. So don't do that. Just be just like them. If she don't want to go out on a date with you because you want to go there, then don't go. And also keep coupons.
See, we don't have coupons back home.
Yeah, coupons are like when you say, oh, I want something for Yoshinoya, then it's your decision as a man where you want to go eat anyway. If she want, and then when you go out to a restaurant and you have to pay, you get a salad. You eat a big meal before you go.
Tactical.
And when you get to the restaurant, you eat a salad. She's not gonna eat no more than what you eat. Okay? Now the Hail Mary is when you get a girl pregnant. You know, in the football, you get a girl pregnant and don't give her the money to go get an abortion because she might not. You go with her to get the abortion. And then after that abortion is done, you take her to McDonald's, get an Egg McMuffin with coffee, and you take her home, put her under the cover, and you dump that bitch and don't goddamn call her no more, okay? Now, I suggest keep the number on the phone for your caller ID so when she call you, you know it's her and you don't answer the phone. The next lesson is the baseball ball pen. You always have 5 pitchers in the ball pen.
Well, but I haven't been to the baseball since I've been here, but I understand.
In baseball, you have 5 pitchers. You need to have 5 girls, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, who you gonna fuck. Now, if you can't max out 5, don't worry about it. 2 or 3 is good enough until you get your game going. So, you don't go out on a date with a girl Friday, Saturday, and Sunday unless she's gonna give you some pussy.
Right.
Okay, if you don't get no pussy from that girl, you don't go out on a date with her. And the ball pen is always ugly, fat, skinny, whatever the girls are in the beginning to get your game going. And then once you get your game going, you add a little bit more girls. Try not to fuck them at your house if you don't have to. But if you
This
do,
is my house at the moment.
right? If you do fuck them at your house, let them know that your roommate coming 7 o'clock in the morning. They can't spend the night. As soon as you get done fucking them, let them go. Okay? And then it's always good to go to her house so she don't know where you live to cause problems too. So you either got a roommate or your brother or somebody living with you if you had to come to your house and you say, once you're done fucking her, it's about like 12 o'clock midnight. Yeah, my cousin coming at 2 o'clock. He come on every night from work at 2 o'clock in the morning. Within the next hour or so, you just tell her, hey, I can't let you stay tonight. My roommate or my brother or my sister or whoever come home after they get off work. That's how you do that.
That's the trick. And you saying before, you drive.
I used to drive a minivan for the people like Ronald Reagan and Muhammad Ali. I used to drive for people who had Alzheimer's. Yeah. And I used to drive for people who had mental health. And I got that second job that I had, man, I got burnt out and I got sick. And so it just put me in a situation where I couldn't go back on the job for a while. So I'm receiving disability for it's been a good while. Yeah. Yeah. So what I do, I drive girls who transgenders. And one of my niece, my wife was from Peru, so her niece was going through the transformation. Yep. And so I started meeting a lot of girls through the clubs. And then I started taking the girls to the clubs. And a lot of girls work on Backpage, Craigslist, and LA Express on Sunset and La Brea. And so, fuck it, I get HIV test. Oh, get an HIV test. Go to Melrose and Wilton while you're here. Second floor, go early as possible. And on the second floor, they give you condoms. This worked to my advantage. I go get an HIV test, put it on my phone, put it on my Facebook, and the girls that see that, they want to fuck you. Even if they got a boyfriend, they'll fuck you. Because it's like a sign of respect, or they know you clean, and they know you clean, they'll fuck you more than somebody else they don't know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I make a copy, put it on your phone. Oh, okay.
Explain. That's that podcast we're talking.
Yeah. This is what it looked like on the phone.
Yep.
And I'll show it to you, my laminated. I go to Staples and I laminate a hard copy because I keep a backpack with condoms and soap, toothpaste, and deodorant bag. And so I put it in my backpack, and then when I go in the house, I show it to them, the laminated one. And if I don't have the laminated one, I show it to her on the phone. And then if I do have a girl that comes to my house, I show her the one that's on my wall. And they all up to date.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Making sure you're clean, you're checked out, no faults.
right, and then at the same time too, when a girl sees that you clean too, I fuck a lot of transgenders. So a lot of them, 9 times out of 10, they take HIV tests all the time too.
Yeah.
But it's not the same as the chlamydia test. Chlamydia test, they stick a little Q-tip up your back ass, and then you piss and draw blood. So, but they also tell you when you show them your test, oh, I'm tested too. And then they might go in the back room and come back on and show you their paperwork. And it's not bad to ask questions or show them your STD test, because like you get a lot of ass that way too. You get a lot of ass that way too. You know.
I was staying near the library. That's on Sunset, and my friend was saying that's where a lot of transgenders hang out. Outside the library. Is that the one?
You close by right now. On my Facebook. Oh man, I got a lot of girls. I give you my name. You can stay in touch with me on my Facebook.
Let me write that down.
And there's a lot of girls I know. But I got a girl right now want to be dominated. I always have threesomes with her and my partner. He done had 19 threesomes with me with transgender girls.
Yep.
I still fuck regular girls too. But when it come down to transgender, man, I got a friend in Atlanta, he said he bisexual. And I said, well, just go to the fucking transgender club and hang on and just watch. It's just like being at a regular club.
Yeah.
They'll come up to you and touch your dick and whatever. The majority of the time, some of them so much be in the process of having an operation later for a vagina. And if you fuck one girl that have an operation as a vagina, it's fucking tight. It's real fucking tight. And
Can they still get STIs, STDs?
Yeah, no. Well,
after they've had the transformation?
Well, a lot of them, they use condoms.
Yeah.
And there would be some girls who don't use condoms, but that goes back to if you show her your test, she'll show you her test. And then you can waver if you want to fuck her or not without a condom. I got a girl that I can fuck without a condom anytime because I know she clean. You know, it's not hard to. Right here is a club, Arena Circus. A lot of transgenders and a lot of bisexual girls and gay guys, they go there. That's a big old ass club. You know, you can have fun. That's my number and my Facebook. And you can check out on my Facebook and just go into pictures in go into the photo album on my Facebook and check out the girls that way.
Yeah, no worries,
and they look like regular women, man. You can't tell. The first time I fought one, I was looking for prostitutes on the other side of town. And so that night I said, fuck it, I'm gonna get me some ass tonight. And so she had long hair, titties, nice ass. So she said, how much you got? And I said, what, 30? And she said, what's your name? I said, Lewis. And what's your name? She said, Erica. I went into her apartment. She gave me a nice blowjob with the lights down. And after that, I fucked her doggy style all night, so I didn't know she had a dick. So then the second time I came back, I fucked her again. And same old thing, blowjob, and Weston and Santa Monica.
I'll take a photo of that because I haven't seen one of these before.
You always keep that. There's a truck like this truck. there's a truck just like this truck here on Vermont and Santa Monica. They do HIV tests all the time, and they do that one. And then there's a truck on Santa Monica and Western. That's a club called Temple, right next to the Pollo Loco, and right in now there always be a HIV truck like this. And then at Arena, Cobra Plaza, right here on the Braille close to Melrose, in the middle of the block, they do HIV tests. And then you just get it tested, go to Staples, laminate one, and wallet size, and then the paper size, and then hey.
They were with us.
Okay.
Yeah. We're gonna have to head off in a second. The kids are coming out of there.
And so get you one of these bags, right? And then you just carry your condoms in it. Okay, carry your condoms in it. All right.
Do we have a couple of those? Is that alright?
Yeah, I just keep your condoms in it, right?
Yeah.
So wherever you go, when you travel, you have condoms on you. Don't take a condom from the females because they poke holes in it to get pregnant. So you carry your own condom, you safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's how you do that. And then that's it. Oh, motherfucker, don't be. If you got a girlfriend, don't carry her fucking pocketbook. What the fuck you carrying your girlfriend pocketbook for? If she say she ain't gonna give you no pussy tonight, don't worry about it. Go find you a prostitute that night. Don't goddamn carry no woman fucking pocketbook. I'm for real. You have to stand that way. I mean, if you, he said, get in touch with your father. Even though you might think he was a bad person, get in touch with your father, because whatever your mom tell you to do, and she's a single mom, the girl's gonna step on you. So get in touch with your father, get that heart to heart. Hey, how do you get my mom pussy? Let him tell you how you got your mom and teach you how to go get other girls too. But nice to meet you.
Likewise, that was a
guys
pleasure.
gotta go. All right, nice to meet you. All right, you guys have a lot of success and a lot of luck in what you guys got to do.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Travel safe.
Okay.
Basic. Here we go. So,
Fire it up. Fire it up, baby.
So we had just played a show. We got invited back to stay with some kids. They let us stay because we put out a sign. We went back and I feel like I'm being put in the spot. We went back and they had like a pet pig, and it was a cool house and it was cool to stay there, and they said we could stay there the next night as well because it was convenient with the routing. And so we left our stuff there, went and played the show, and then on the way back the van broke down, transmission went, and we were stuck. So the girls came and picked us up. One of them was the worst driver ever.
Driving over central reservations.
She knew she was bad, but
She was really bad. Like the central reservation on the road.
Oh, the
middle
strip.
Yeah, she was on top of that for most of the journey home.
Yeah. And then we got back, and Charlie from Rome, his
City Rome or from the band?
No.
band
Band
Rome,
Rome.
his wisdom teeth were giving him absolute fucking pain. His
Like,
jaw was
face
swollen.
out.
So his solution
Was to drink whiskey.
was to drink whiskey, lots and lots of it, to numb the pain, understandably.
I would like to throw my perspective on this because it was one of the most surreal experiences ever. That we all went to sleep.
Yeah.
In the van?
No, in the house,
In the house.
where we
in
were
the house.
staying.
Sorry.
And the next thing I remember is being woken up saying, Charlie is fucked on moonshine and whiskey and is chasing a pig around the field, shouting that he's going to fuck it in the arsehole. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I got up and basically he'd been fed moonshine, which for those of you that don't know what moonshine is, it's an extremely alcoholic drink that in some places is illegal, I believe. And he had been fed that to numb the pain, but as a result, he was absolutely fucked and didn't go to sleep. So this was at 7 o'clock in the morning of the following day, and we had a show to play the following evening, and they weren't sure he was going to play it because he was absolutely fucked.
Yeah. But then, same thing happened to a similar person the following night when we stayed there again for some reason because we had no van. We were stuck there. Luckily, it coincided with days off, so we didn't miss any shows. But we were stuck there. We had no van. So
It basically happened to me. I didn't chase a pig around the field, but
she
fed me moonshine, and I got absolutely fucked. And the next thing I remember, waking up in Ben waking me up in the bed, in the mum's bed with the mum, but obviously like nothing happened. We were fully clothed.
You'd just been watching like TV with her daughter there.
Yeah.
But then
her daughter had cut my beard.
What? Trimmed it or shaved it
Like
off?
just trimmed it because she was a hairdresser, and then I remember waking up next to her from Ben.
And then we had to go to the AP offices. They were taking us there.
And all jokes aside, I slept for 36 hours, didn't I?
Right.
Like solidly. I was fucked. And then the day came where everyone was just sitting around waiting to go. We got the replacement van and we fucking piled into this van and we fucked off. So there you go.
And we've in a replacement van, with less seats than the number of people in our crew.
So we got into a van that we illegally got into, so it was cool. It was alright.
So no pigs got violated. No mums got violated.
No band members got violated.
How did the wisdom tooth end up?
It actually died down.
Yeah.
He was okay. Charlie was alright.
Moonshine cures wisdom teeth.
Seems to cure everything. Moonshine So the moral of the story is moonshine cures everything. I think we should.
Let's end on that.
Yeah.
And that was As It Is. Thanks, guys, for sharing that with us. They'll be in Australia in September, so check out their Facebook if you want to hear more tunes from them. And this is a wrap. This is the end of the first episode of Home is Where the Van Is. I'd like to thank Evan. I'd like to thank As It Is, at Kev's house, Lewis, and most of all you guys for taking the chance to listen to it. The audio quality and editing is something I'm still working on, so over the next couple of episodes you'll hear it improve. But to finish it off, we're going to hear a track from Worthwhile, the band that Evan manages. We're going to chuck their latest video clip, which came out last week, up on the Facebook page. The Facebook page is facebook.com/homeispodcast. And if you've got any feedback or if you want to suggest something, then feel free. This is Jason signing out. Home is Where the Van Is. Ride the vibe.
I want to change the world, so scared to change myself. Oh world, oh trend, get your big cobblestone and bricks. A tall down tall from within jail. Cold blood cooking politics. Virtue and vice, men and mice. We shout to the edge, to find paradise. This world can't be fly, I feel it. It's spinning out of control. In a special place, I'll risk windmills in the naval base. To still breathe in the Pacific's grace. It's on my prison and my escape. On and race in a special place. It's my home prison, my escape. I want to change the world, so scared to change myself. So scared to change myself. I ask for strength. It's taking struggle every day. I set my sights into the sky, then realize it's falling under all of us. I'm too young to realize some things just can't be done. Relentless, do it anyway. Finite, great as the sun. That shadow of death to the fatherless friend. You're not to say it wants me. It'll have to catch up. I'll down, chasing after my dream. The old gentleman was a student to the very end. Chase every thought in every book, on every shelf. in all the world. It's on all blood, peace, wealth and need, love and loss, pride and death. I'll never forget what this wise man told me. From most brutal teach reveal his experience, you'll see. But in return,